Hey, what's going on, friends? My podcast every day is broken up into two parts on the free platform. The first part, Act 1, is right now. When it's all done, go right on over to Act 2 to get the second half of the podcast. Thank you so much for checking out my show. Hello, friends. Welcome in. So glad you are here. The Eric Zane Show podcast has begun. For this, the 19th of February, 2024. 25. 24. 25. Definitely 25. Uh-oh. We are close to another hype train. What exactly is a hype train? I couldn't tell you, but it's something associated with Twitch. Most people who do this live stream on Twitch, you know, you get the younger people in there and like, oh, man, let's go get a hype train. Let's do a hype train. And I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do a hype train. I don't know what that is. But I guess if you resubscribe, that moves my hype train meter up. Thank you, Amanda. Amanda gives me a bit, as it's known, which is Twitch currency. So if you subscribe, I'm getting closer to a hype train. I am right now 62% to a hype train. I think maybe once I have gotten a hype train. All-time Molly has given me bits. Amanda's given me bits. So now if you get to level 1 hype train, what does that mean? It's a mystery. I don't know. I may have known, but I've forgotten that. I have no clue. But I'm here for it if it does get to that point on Hype Train. So glad you're here. This show originates in the Impact Power Sports studio. Impact Power Sports online at impactpowersportsmi.com. It's a fantastic place to pick up an SUV. Not an SUV. Boy, I'm struggling today. ATV. UTV, side-by-side, motorcycle, e-bike, scooter, one of those things with one wheel that you see dogs riding on occasionally, videos on TikTok. I love those. That's replaced dog on skateboard. Snowmobiles, zero-turn radius lawnmowers. They have a fantastic service department to, if you already have one, to get it repaired, or if you need any service on it. 62% there on a hype train with a minute 55 remaining. Holy cow. Aram says, even the explanation doesn't really say. Quote, a hype train on Twitch is a feature where a streamer's community can collectively contribute support through actions like subscribing, gifting subscriptions, or using bits, which triggers a special event where everyone participating can earn exclusive emotes and rewards. Ooh! If they reach certain levels of hype within a set time frame. Essentially, it's a way to celebrate and amplify a streamer's community engagement with incentives for participation. How stupid is that? What the fuck? Yeah, fuck the hype train. Amanda says some streamers have their lights and sirens and stuff set up when you do a certain amount of gifted subscriptions and whatnot. Chris writes, boy, golly, that sounds great with a middle finger. Yeah, they want that, okay, because then the money that you, like if you subscribe with Prime or if you give bits, the more bits you give, the more bits you're going to have to buy down the road. It's all about them trying to take your money. Okay? And so if I'm sitting here demanding, all right, come on, let's get a hype train, holy shit. That's just another thing for you to have to worry about that you shouldn't have to worry about. So Twitch can fuck off, in my opinion. Amanda says, I mean, if you had one set up, I would have you set up that one song. All I do is win, win, win when somebody gifted like 5 subscriptions. Well, that's fun. Aram says, I wish I didn't look that up. Yeah, you can't get that time back. You know? My God. All right. So, what a day we have planned. We are one day closer to Big Fraud Thursday. So, I'm looking forward to that. The Ben and Eric Patreon podcast will take place after we do Who Are These Free Beers? So Ben and I are actively getting our clips ready that we can goof on the show coming up on Thursday. Jeremy says, to be honest, it'd be hilarious if EZ got a $5 donation and then a drop of him yelling "Plumpy" at us. Chris says, no, Montgomery Brawl with every subscription. Like that song. Adam Balboa is here. He writes, you should have a spelling bee on this show. I'm not 100% confident. No, I am now because Ben has checked in. Ben is going over the spelling bee audio from the Tuesday edition of our pals Free Beer and Hot Wings. Now, somebody told me about it, and I said, hey, if you want to pull from this, I don't know if there's anything there, but Adam Balboa said all it was try to spell a word, and then they'd spell a word and go to the next word. There was no laughs, there's no jokes, it's fucking horrible. I haven't heard it yet, I couldn't tell you, but he's a pretty trusted source. Murder lover Linda says, oh, God, I saw that clip on Instagram. So I guess they're making a big deal out of it and posting little snippets of them spelling things. Ben Glaze is all over it. He is reviewing the spelling bee, and we will dissect that and kind of, park on it a little bit when we take care of Who Are These Free Beers. Adam says it's the worst thing I have ever heard. Come on now. There are some legendary moments that you could be called worst thing I've ever heard. The candle recall, the dishwasher loading debate. Amanda's kind of got this out of the box attitude today, which I'm liking. Frankly, Ben, I need to talk. Hey, Ben, I need to talk to you about some of the drops from the drop machine. I think we could get these set up as voice clips that people could pay for on this show. Probably. You guys know more about this than I do. The extent of what I know about Twitch is you just hit the button and then, you got a show going. I'm very minimal. I'm a minimalist when it comes to this shit. Ben says the worst bit ever was reading instructions in a sexy voice. That's right. How about reading instructions in German accent? Maitland got a cell phone holder or a stand for a tripod for her cell phone. And she's like, oh my God, I've just discovered that these instructions come in different languages. So Hot Wings must read the instructions in German with a German accent. Now, mind you, Hot Wings does not speak German. So he's just attempting to, it's a guy who speaks English only, trying to read German, but doing a German accent. And it's like, how the fuck is that funny or interesting? It's not. And even if he could speak German, all he's doing is reading instructions for a goddamn cell phone tripod, you asshole. Yoda Whirl is here. He's one of probably just one member of the audience who found his way over here through Who Are These Broadcasters and Who Are These Podcasts. Which, by the way, Carl from Who Are These Podcasts seems to think that Paul McCartney's performance on the SNL thing was good. I tried to get him on yesterday. I'm going to try it again today. See if he can explain himself. He knows every time I call, it's live.
Eric Zane.
Hey, you're live.
I know.
Explain yourself about Paul McCartney.
Okay. How exciting was that performance with my favorite half of an album ever being played, and everyone there singing along, enjoying themselves, and you shitheads, who, by the way, you weren't even up that late. You were already in bed. This guy is 80 years older than you, and he's up there singing and just performed that weekend in New York City, and you're calling him out for that. What were you doing at that time, Easy?
Wait a minute. So are you concerned with if I was awake or not?
Yes, because here you are calling this guy out for his performance. You can't even stay up that late.
Well, I mean, I can't sing, and neither can he. I would have been more accomplished. I would have had a better shot at getting that song right than he did.
Well, that might be possible.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was bad. That was so bad.
It was unfortunate, but the band is great, though, aren't they?
I didn't like the band.
Oh, well, I don't know what you have a problem with.
No, it was... Now, the thing is, though, I should kind of defer. You actually perform music. You know what you're doing.
Well, you also were calling him out for the guitar solo thing. Do you not understand the relevance of that?
Of Paul McCartney playing the guitar?
Yeah, all three guys played guitar solos, including John Lennon, who never played a guitar solo on any other record with the Beatles. All of them traded off guitar solos on that part. It was historic. And it was after a drum solo, which Ringo never did drum solos.
Well, I mean, yeah, but John Lennon wasn't there and George wasn't there, so who gives a fuck?
He wasn't? I got to go back and watch the tape.
Are you podcasting today?
I am. Episode 598.
So we have a brand new edition of Who Are These Podcasts. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and you can watch it live.
Correct. It'll be live at 5:30 Eastern today with my buddy Adam Bush, who will be co-hosting with me.
You had a bit of a technical snafu last week. Did you get that taken care of?
You are... Is that the only time you watch the shows when I'm fucking up?
No, I didn't watch it. I had audience members who were watching it telling me that there was a disaster happening.
Yeah, I got the text from you, buddy. Thanks so much for caring. I appreciate it.
Well, I've had that happen. I know how that is.
It's not great, especially when the only thing you can do is just reboot your system and then it works. You're like, okay, well, nothing I did.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Everybody else is. They should check you out on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel.
Easy. Appreciate the Beatles a little bit more, will you?
I love the Beatles. I didn't love that performance, you dick. All right. See ya.
See ya.
Carl Hamburger, always a welcome bit of input on the podcast. Tofa says fucking up is good content. Chris says go Bills. Of course. Tofa says asshole the day the Beatles. No, come on now. All right. I completely lost track of what I was going to talk about. God, this was fucking incredible. There was something on the subreddit of our pals, Free Beer and Hot Wings, that caught my eye. And, oh no. So the thread is FBHW nostalgia, and thank you, Jeremy. You're very sweet. I appreciate you so much. This person wrote, hey, I recently posted about the Red Sovine teddy bear segment, and it prompted me to listen to some episodes from the archive. I went back to July of 2010 with the Lindsay Lohan Freedom Ride and the Double Rainbow Guy and the time Zane's wife saved a woman's life who drowned in San Francisco. The January 2015 segment that has the teddy bear segment also has a good Diana bit where she got the van stuck in like 3 inches of snow, and they revisited the audio of Jackie screaming, Dad, I gotta go! And I'm thinking, oh, this is fun. He says, man, they were funny. Even Zane was funny back then. This was before he got too annoying. I think he got really obnoxious over time. Whatever. Of course, a lot of their jokes don't hold up. Joe uses the R word many times, for example. And some of the stuff is generally very cringe by 2025 standards. I forgot how funny it could be when they beat up the callers, deservedly, so about 80% of the time. Anyway, it was a fun trip down memory lane. They were legitimately funny, but it's possible some of my enjoyment is coming from remembering that time for me in history. Okay. And this person writes, from all the accounts I've heard, Zane and his whole family seem like trash people. Oh, fuck. And I read that and I'm like, what the fuck? And then the original poster wrote, oh, I fully agree. Like the guy who was saying how much fun it was listening to the old shit. Jeremy, by the way, says, yeah, it was cringy and uncomfortable back then, too. That's what made it funny. The original poster says, oh, I totally agree. In fact, this same episode, the guys beat him up mercilessly because he bought a redneck belt buckle based on the fact that Kid Rock had a similar one. That's fucking great. But he was funny back then. I think the trashy part got worse and worse, which directly correlated to him getting less and less funny over time as well. All right, let me pause there. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen and you know, put an ear on it to see if I agree or disagree. But I mean, perception is reality. Yeah, I could probably believe that over time, it was getting a little long in the tooth, the relationship. I had told you myself about the time when I said to Diane, I go, I don't know how sustainable this is. I am not liking what I'm doing. Oh, well, fuck it. We're getting paid. This person, I think, was being nice. Said, it's funny you say that. Out of all the people on the show, he's the only one still married to the same person. He must be trash. Divorce isn't inherently trashy. This guy says, this is the original poster. It just means Eric and Diana are equally yoked in their trashiness. Holy fuck. And then the guy who said, you know, he's still married, this guy says, I love how it's always the same few floater turds who always pop up after a flush to defend the Zane dump. Original poster, who started this by saying how funny the show used to be, writes, don't get me wrong. I cannot stand Zane. He's an asshole. I was fully sick of him by the time he got fired from Freebird and Hot Wings. But back during this particular time period, they were in a great stride and they were all funny together. And again, maybe it's just me, my nostalgia for that time in my life talking. No, same here. I loved his stuff, this guy says. It just got way too personal and direct. Took the humor away. Yeah, and I can't even agree with that entirely. Like, there may have been moments, but, yeah, I don't know. Maybe a little bit of those moments went much further. Who knows? Let's see. Yeah, like the guy who brought up the divorces so earlier in this thread. LOL, this is why we don't like y'all. Chill out, lift each other, don't drag mistakes out. Well, no, you got to drag mistakes out. Can't move forward when you live in the past. Almost rhymes with his podcast. Okay. All right. So they're going after it. This person says, No, I'm not going to read that one. And then Jeremy, I'm almost embarrassed to read what Jeremy wrote because it's so glowing. It's like too much. I appreciate you. No, I take it back. It's not too much. I loved it because I read this and I went, God damn, I am fucking great. He writes, Eric gave a kidney away to a listener of the show. Almost 100% true. It was a dude I grew up with. He left the Catholic Church when his daughter came out as lesbian because he couldn't continue supporting an organization that viewed his daughter as subhuman. In reality, she is, what is the term? Pansexual. Every year, he feeds 100 plus needy families during the holidays. I don't feed them. You feed them. I just talk about it. Recently, he's been the catalyst for multiple of his listeners losing weight. I know this because I'm one of them. I've lost almost 70 pounds in 6 months because of the accountability he has provided me. Well, you just don't want to let me down. You're doing it. Diana is a special needs teacher, and she also works at the YMCA in the kids zone. Is Eric a troll? Yup. Is he an abrasive dick? Yeah. But trash people don't do shit like I've described. And then this person wrote, did he used to run marathons for kids with a rare disease? And Jeremy says, yes, indeed. Ataxia telangiectasia is a name, and yes, he did. Still support those people to this day. So, and that did it. It like ended the discussion. So I appreciate you doing that, but I was kind of enjoying them ripping me a new asshole. I love being described as trashy. My wife and I are trashy. Molly says, is Free Beer and Hot Wings a popular show or kind of niche? I feel like I've heard them even before coming here. Well, they're played on different radio stations. A lot of small radio stations throughout the country that, need a show, so they put them on. Typically, their audience, if you can picture this, and I know this sounds like I'm being an asshole, but it's 1 billion% true. People who like do Magic the Gathering and Pokemon Go and collect Pokemon cards and play Dungeons and Dragons, and they're into LARPing. Generally, there's some substance abuse issues, zero attractiveness. And I know it sounds like I'm being an asshole, but if you were to go to their Facebook page or their Segment 18 page and just get a look at these people, they are fucking horrible to look at. They have zero care for their bodies. They cannot even manage their bodies. It's so bad. So take that into account. That's who is listening to that show. Tofa says trash people are emotionally abusive assholes to family and coworkers. Molly says, Jeremy, I was going to say, I wonder what it's like now. I love EZ and the community. It took me a bit to understand what all the side things were, but now that I do, for the most part, I love this place. Well, yeah, this is good that you're here. And I love that you found this out through, what's the dude's name? Tyler. Winnipeg guy. Ben Glaze says, Wombat Pat is a monster, LOL. Oh, Tyler Glenn, that's right. Yeah, Wombat Pat is a horrible person to look at. Oh, God. In my mind, I so dislike that guy. First of all, he's blind, and we all know that all blind people, except for a few outliers, are dicks. I want to be driving down the street in downtown GR and seeing that guy with his stupid cane fucking chopsticking down the goddamn road so that I can get out and say, hey, buddy, do you need help crossing the street? And then, push him in. Piece of shit. Aram is here and tips off Molly about the infamous Men's Warehouse episode of this podcast. We are right now approaching episode number 1,500. But if you go back to episode 940, that is the day that I told the first ever telling of the Gary from the Men's Warehouse story. You can wait until I tell it in the coming months, or you can listen to that one and then listen to it again when I tell it in a couple months. Because I can guarantee you when I tell it in a couple months, it's going to be even more focused and more intense. It is the single most significant moment that has ever happened, not only in podcasting, but in broadcasting. A scenario was put in front of me that at the time I couldn't believe it. And it was so hideous that at the time I was like, well, I can never speak of this ever. It was like emotionally fatiguing what was happening to me. And I was just witness to it, but I was involved. Matt says, don't wait. Someone in the chat, tell it now. No one in the chat, tell it now. I can't think of any other episode that is like, hey, you got to listen to this. I mean, there are great moments, I'm sure, that stand out to you. Episode 940. It's fucking nuts. Tofus, go back and listen to episode 940. I think I took a half an hour to tell this story. And what I'll never forget is I was seated right here when my phone rang. And it started me on this day-long adventure. Aram says, if you listen to episode 940 and then go back to listen to episode 937, you will laugh at how oblivious Eric was at what was coming. Boy, I never thought about that. The only thing I'll tell you is this involves the preparation and getting ready for Jacqueline's wedding. And it involves my brother-in-law, the NFK. We had to go to the Men's Warehouse to get him a suit. That is it. Fake Free Beer says, I helped a blind guy cross the street 12 years ago, and I caught him stealing my wallet. I almost punched a blind guy. You tried to steal your wallet? That sounds incredibly difficult for a blind guy to pull off. Fake Free Beer. By the way, did you drop that envelope in the mail, you dick-bagged moron? I'm kidding. Well, no, I'm not, but you know what I mean. That's ball busting. Tyler says, will you be needing the services of that same Men's Warehouse again this summer when Madison gets married? I don't think so, but I will have to bang on the door of the dry cleaner. And that's a clue to what happens in the story. I say nothing more. Nothing more. Maureen says, I literally put a reminder in my phone for the week of Madison's story for you to tell the Gary story. Oh, outstanding. You are the best. Fake Free Beer, thank you. All right. Anyway, that was outstanding on Reddit. Great fun. And I'm looking forward to EZ, that would be me, and Ben Glaze breaking down the Freeburg and Hot Wings show spelling bee moment. We'll get to that coming up on a Thursday edition of Who Are These Free Beers and the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. You can sign up for free at patreon.com/Eric Zane. 7 days free. I just posted a new edition of the Lost Zane recordings, Ben Glaze and myself, from 2018 on WBBL. Thank you. Ben Glaze has informed me that he has a clip that he would like me to check out. A preview of Who Are These Free Beers. Well, this is outstanding. Now, I'm not sure what's going on. It's an 18-second clip. Thank you, Ben. for this. This is a preview of this week's edition of Who Are These Free Beers. Ben sets up the clip with Free Beers Brain Breaks.
Free beer and hot wings.
Trivia replay.
I didn't like where I started that, and I'm trying to find a way to back it up. But Kelly's got it. Yeah, that's next. It is the Free Beer and Hot Wings show.
What the fuck is going on with him?
All right. Free beer and hot wings.
Trivia replay.
I didn't like where I started that, and I'm trying to find a way to back it up. But Kelly's got it. Yeah, that's next. It is the Free Beer and Hot Wings show.
I think that's even worse than the first one. Because he wanted to say, when they replay trivia, they call it Dumber Than the Show Trivia Revisited. But he started saying free beer and hot, and he's thinking, oh no, am I saying free beer and hot wings report when they play Wise Brothers audio or whatever the fuck it is? And then he fucks up show in free beer and hot wings show.
All right. Free beer and hot wings.
Trivia replay.
I didn't like where I started that, and I'm trying to find a way to back it up. But Kelly's got it. Yeah, that's next. It is the Free Beer and Hot Wings show.
Maybe he did that on purpose. I don't know.
All right.
I guess it's possible. But I don't think he has the sensibility to do that. Tyler says, quote, this is the free beer and hot wings stroke. Tyler says the telling of the Men's Warehouse incident, it's like an upcoming movie, NFK versus Gary, Part 2, The Reckoning. All right. So anyway, sign up, patreon.com/Eric Zane, 7 days free. It's there for you to check out. And then I've got 44 episodes of Who Are These Free Beers? I've got the daily Patreon bonus podcast. Who Are These? Jesus, I'm sounding like free beer. Lost Zane recordings, all there for you. We got another of, can I sound more? This is fucking perfect. At a time when we're making fun of free beer, I can't even fucking talk. There's a number of other episodes on there, too, including Who Are These Zanes, which I swear to God we're going to start doing those again one day. There's a few episodes of Who Are These Justins. There's a Who Are These Steve and Kyles. That may have been the most difficult show to prepare ever. I will say this. I listened to the Monday edition of Who Are These Free Beers? Of the Free Beer and Hot Wings show. And free beer was not there. And I kind of agree with that person who said that they sound like they're having more fun. And I don't know if it's exactly having more fun, but Hot Wings participates more. That's one thing that stands out to me. Like, he's kind of a different person. I think that when Greg is there, Greg is so... like, I don't know, something about it. I don't really care for Kelly hosting it because she's not that great at it. But the show is passable. It sounds like just a local morning show. And they do a lot of very basic things. It's nothing too grandiose or anything like that. But it just sounds a little bit more cohesive. I think people are afraid to speak up when Greg is there. And I always want to be a dick to Greg, but this is like legit. It's a 100% more upbeat show. That's what Bob says. More upbeat and happy. Tofa says, even when you were on the show, it sounded like you were all having more fun when Douchebag wasn't there. Maureen says, everyone is more relaxed when the boss is gone in any job setting, really. Well, that's the thing, though. He's not the boss. I don't know why he thinks he is. All right. I'm going to kick everybody out that's watching on Facebook and watching on YouTube as well. At least I think I am. Maybe I'm not because it's asking me to log in again. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back with more. Don't go anywhere. It is time. I have to use the potty. I've been drinking a ton of water lately because my doctor says easy. You don't drink enough water. And I'm like, God damn it. This is ridiculous. But he's right. So that's affecting me in many ways. I will be back. Don't go anywhere. Do any of you over the years when I was on the radio remember me, quote unquote, bragging about the size of my son's crank? Sounds like something that I would do in a joking way. I mean, I don't think I went, hey guys, guess what? My son's got a huge crank. You won't believe it. Same thread. The way he used to brag about the size of his kid's dick. Oh, no. This person says, yeah, that was horrendous. Wasn't he like near 15? Poor kid. Yeah, I don't recall. Some of you listen to the old shows. But I couldn't, not only could I tell you when, I'm sure I did, but I couldn't tell you like the context. Now, I can pretty much guarantee you that it was hilarious. Ben says Diana said something about it, and you called her on the air about it. Ben Glaze. So, like, she said it around the house, and I don't know the era. Like, if he was a baby, or if, like, you know, he's walking around and she saw his crank. I cannot, I don't know. I can't imagine a time when Diana would come up to me and say, hey, our son's got a big crank. But I don't know, maybe. Chris says, poor kid. If I was 15 and my dad was on the radio bragging about the size of my crank, I think I'd be okay with that. Ben said, she said he had a big crank and thought there were 2 ball sacks. LOL. Now, I remember the ball sacks, but I don't remember in the same conversation that moment happening. I do remember when she said ball sacks, and I brought it up on the air, and then we called her about 2 ball sacks because she thought that in the male anatomy, the scrotum, that you had 2 scrotums, one for each ball. Now, if you actually were to look at a ball sack, especially when a dude is cold, where the scrot will shrink so that it can pull the balls close to your body to regulate the temperature appropriately. When that happens, it's very evident there's like a line that goes down the middle of the sack. It's like a seam. It's like in a football where you'd see the laces go. That's a real thing. And it has a name. I don't know what it is. I don't remember it from my anatomy and physiology class. But so you don't see it. It's not as pronounced when the sack is loose. But that's there. But that line was enough to make Ding Dong, Pooh Bear, think that there's 2 independent sacks that swing around. So she kept saying, your ball sacks, your ball sacks. And I'm like, why do you keep saying ball sacks? And she says, well, it's your sacks. And I go, that's not a thing. There's only 1 sack. I thought you had 2. And I'm like, you've been on the business end of that thing more than anyone. And you think there's 2 sacks that could, 1 for each testicle. She absolutely thought that was a thing. My God. But I do not remember in that conversation a discussion about Jim's crank. But you know this more than I do. I don't remember any of this shit. I remember that because it was a high watermark moment. But I don't recall discussing the size of my son's crank on the podcast or on the radio ever. But if you say so, maybe. Well, anyway, people are like, oh my God, listen to what he's doing. It's just, give me a fucking break. You know, God knows what I said. It was because I was absolutely willing to cast aside any concerns about how I looked in the public. That's the only reason why the radio show was a success. Because I would tell anything just because I knew it was an outstandingly hilarious moment. And I can recognize that from a million miles away. So every day I start the show, there's got to be something that people go, oh my God, yes. So if you want a boring, shitty show like you have now, that's the type of mindset they have. Let's be very cautious and not say anything that's interesting. Let's just do spelling bees and discuss loading the dishwasher. And for some reason, that seems to work. I can't figure out why or how. Aram adding more clues. He says that I used to call him Schlonger. I don't know if you're being serious or not. Aram's a mystery. He is the hardest person to figure out. Sometimes he tries to be funny. I couldn't tell you if you're being serious or not. You would need to reiterate that for me to believe you. All right. As we continue on in this edition of the Eric Zane Show podcast, a reminder that the Grand Rapids Gold Saturday basketball game, Paw Patrol night, tip-off, 7 p.m. Go to grandrapidsgold.com and get tickets. We've got a lot of games this weekend. You got Saturday. Well, I actually have a couple of Griffins games, too, but I'm not talking about them right now. You got the Saturday Grand Rapids Gold game, and then you got a Monday game and a Tuesday game with the Grand Rapids Gold. So pick one and go. grandrapidsgold.com, a fantastic event. Each and every game is just a wild ride. You're in and out in about 2 hours. Aram says, no, I'm 100% serious. There was a whole bit about Diana calling him that and you freaking out that she scarred him for life. Ask Jim. Well, no, I'm not going to ask Jim. But now that makes sense. As long as it's not me doing something stupid. If she does something stupid, then yes. Do the Gold ever play the Osceola Magic and Mac McClung? I don't think we play them this year, but Mac McClung has been in the building before. In Grand Rapids, more than once. And this is the guy who does awesome in the dunk contest, and everybody loves him because he's little and white. So he does these incredible dunks, Mac McClung. And like he gets invited to the NBA Slam Dunk Championship or Slam Dunk Contest during All-Star Weekend. And he won it one year. I don't know if he won it in the most recent year. But he's horrible outside of dunking the basketball. Like, he can't do anything. Like, he can shoot a three, but if he's off the whole game. That's the only thing this guy can do. He can shoot threes, and he can do ridiculous dunks. All right. So thank you to the Grand Rapids Gold. Frank Fuss, buyinsurancehere.com, My Policy Shop Insurance. no matter what you are doing right now, let's say you are self-employed, your boss does not offer you insurance, or you're in between jobs, you still need health care, you can get it through the marketplace. Now, anybody can go to healthcare.gov and take the time to start the process of getting covered with an insurance policy. But Frank Fuss will do it for you, and it costs you no money. Everything Frank does for his customers is free of charge. He gets paid by insurance companies. He is a licensed independent insurance agent / broker specializing in healthcare.gov, Medicare, Social Security plan setup, and life insurance. Buyinsurancehere.com. Go there, fill out the form online. Frank will be back in touch with you, and away you go. Stand by. King's Room Barbershop. I was just there last Friday to get a haircut. Fantastic place for guys and chicks who like short hair to get their hair cut. 3 locations: Caledonia, Northland Drive, and at 821 36th Street in Wyoming, Michigan. Haircuts will set you back $19 plus tip. They've been doing it for 50 plus years, and they want to see you there. 3 locations: Caledonia, Northland Drive, 821 36th Street, King's Room Barbershop. Go to the website, kingsroom.net, and that'll give you exact locations and schedules and whatnot. And if you're looking for a gig, if you style hair, you cut hair, King's Room wants you. They're always looking for new people. Head over to kingsroom.net for more information, or just show up in person. Grab the help wanted sign, go in and say, hey, I'm going to be cutting hair here. They're awesome. Bill Burr is pissed. Yeah, he has had it with billionaires. Now, you got to take this shit with a grain of salt when Freckles does this thing. You know, he'll do a rant, and he'll, of course, always trying to make it rant-worthy on a level like mine. Rarely does he achieve that type of greatness. But I don't know if I like fussy Bill Burr. Like the whole business about the Billy Corgan shit, which I still believe was a work. Whenever he was talking with Rich Eisen about it, about the Billy Corgan is my brother thing. And just, first of all, I wasn't buying it. And he just seems to be a lot less funny when he's trying to be mad. During an episode of Monday Morning Podcast last week, he responded to a letter from a fan who said she was a mom who was financially struggling. Yoda World says, staying relevant now that Disney is losing its luster. Smart, actually. Tofus says, isn't he always pissed? Kind of, but he's still funny. At least he has been. Quote, the amount of people struggling out there because of these fucking billionaires. I'm going to pick this apart. I would need more information of how the billionaires are causing people to struggle. Because that's pretty tricky if whatever a mom is who's struggling financially has a bad setup. Bill Burr says blame people who have billions of dollars. I have never, ever taken the time to figure out what specifically people are referring to. What do you mean? Well, they have billions of dollars. It's terrible. Why? What did they do to earn billions of dollars? They probably had some money to begin with that they invested it in things, and away they go. Who gives a fuck? Then he says, and they got us all arguing liberal and conservative. Burr is trying to be the right down the middle guy. He has been for some time. But I think most people say, you're a lefty. Burr said, we got to stop doing that. No, we don't. We absolutely don't have to stop doing that. Bill says, I'm so tired of hearing about people going to bed worried about what's going to happen next week. All right, well, that's mental illness. They should probably not. And focus on improving themselves in the current day instead of worrying about next week. But whatever, not everybody's perfect. I get it. But I don't know if a billionaire is to blame for a guy who goes to bed and he's worried about what's going to happen next week. If you could give me some fucking examples, Bill, instead of just sitting there, you, a millionaire, many times over. Let's go over Bill Burr's net worth. I'm going to say at least $100 million. I'm way off. He has a net worth of $20 million, and I don't know how accurate those are, but that's still pretty great. I think the only guy who can sit there and actually come up with a real reason, sit there and bitch about people is if they're broke too. Nick says our local billionaire here in where we live transformed our city and gave many people 20-plus year careers. Well, we've got more than that. We've got the Meyer family. We've got the Van Andels and the DeVosses. Nick works at all the buildings that are named after the fucking families. I love those people. Jesus Christ. They put so many people to work here. So shut the fuck up. You know what I'm sick of? Rich millionaires bitching about billionaires, acting like they're not millionaires so that all of the poor people will love them and thinking that they're one of us. Oh, that Bill Burr, that millionaire, he's talking about me. I love Bill Burr. He's so great. He's fucking fighting for my right. You asshole. I don't know who's worth, Bill or the stupid fuck who buys into Bill's bullshit. It's so simple. What a weak ass fucking a senseless take. I hate billionaires. Fuck you. Burr insisted billionaires were rabid with fucking greed and they're going out and dividing everybody. Fuck you. Freckles says there's so much fucking money in this country and there's so much work being done. If you work a full fucking week, you should be able to pay your fucking rent. You shouldn't have to go get another fucking job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country. I disagree. Because, if you got Joe Blow who works 40 and he's like, fuck, I'm struggling. I got to figure this shit out. And then he throws in another 25. And he's like, all right, I'm doing it. I just got to do this, lay this plan out, do this, this, and this, figure out something new. It's helping that person to adapt. They're getting a master's degree in how to take care of themselves. Bill says if 40-hour a work week guy isn't getting rich, it's a billionaire's fault. Shut up, Bill. Bill then says because the kids don't see their parents. And they're not getting the upbringing that they need. Oh, really? These fucking billionaires, they need to be put down like rabid fucking rabid dogs. This to me sounds like a ridiculous take that he just threw out there because he had nothing else to talk about on his stupid, boring ass fucking show, which is a pile of shit, by the way. And then somebody just happened to glom on to this stupid take and publicize it. And then everybody runs with it, and Bill's like, oh, shit, I didn't think I was going to get any fucking traction for this bullshit take of mine. Oh, my God, this is great. And then everybody likes it. Everybody shares and goes, yeah, Bill Burr. And they're stupid too. Fuck this shit. All right, that is Act 1 of the podcast. Act 2 is available right after this one. Go check it out. What are you doing? Don't miss a second of it. Thank you so much.